Hey you guys, it's Shakira from GlowBeautyWellness.com, and it's dinner time around these parts, and today I decided I was going to experiment. I went to my friend's house the other day and she was making honey sriracha chicken. And when she was making the marinade or the sauce, it smelled really good, and I just thought to myself that I'm going to try to make that, but since it's a meat-free night tonight in the house, we're going to be doing this with tofu and lots of colorful, beautiful vegetables that are going to add crunch and a little more depth to this recipe, because sometimes when you are not consuming meat in your meal and you're used to it or whatever the case may be, you can feel like you're missing something. So whenever I'm making meat-free meals, I make sure to include lots of crunchy vegetables. So the first thing that we need to do though is get the vegetables prepped. We need to make the sauce, so let's get on in the kitchen and get started. Okay, so to get started, you're going to need a few things. I have zucchini, carrots, scallions, garlic, onion, mushrooms, and asparagus. And then I have 2 packages of tofu because we are a family of 4. And sriracha, honey, coconut oil, soy sauce, and black pepper. So we're going to get started by just chopping up our vegetables. Going to do almost the entire zucchini. I want to make sure there's enough room for everything else before I add the whole one. Carrots. When setting this aside, I honestly don't know how I'm going to do this yet because I've never done this, and I'm working with tofu. So the ultimate goal here is I want to make sure everything is still crispy at the end when we all sit down to have dinner. Chunky pieces of asparagus. I'll just roughly chop these 2. Be careful not to chop your fingers off. Whoops. These don't need to be all, you know, perfect, because they're good. Cut the package and then drain your tofu. And transfer to your cutting board. Okay, so now we're going to pat this dry. We just want to get a lot of that moisture out, because what we're going to do with this tofu is we're going to stir fry it or cook it so that it has like a chicken-like texture. And if you try this recipe, you want to make sure you get the firm, this is extra firm tofu and not the silken tofu. You use the silken tofu, well, I use the silken tofu when I am making soups. So what we're going to do here is just do these in slices. Like so. And then we're going to turn it. Yeah, it's easier to split it, but it's easier to split it right when you're doing it. And then we're going to cut it into bite-sized pieces. Okay, so now that we have all of our vegetables prepped and the tofu prepped, it's time to do the sauce. So let's get to it. Okay, so now it's time to make the sauce. We're going to start with the sriracha, and we're just eyeballing this here. This is usually how my recipes come about. I just look at what I have in the fridge and say, look, this is what we're going to do. And yeah, so now I'm going to put in about, we'll say this is a tablespoon of ginger and garlic. Put a little more ginger in there. Honey. This is 1 tablespoon, 2 tablespoons, 3, And I think we're gonna chill on the honey for now. Next, let's do some soy sauce. Let's also throw some green onions in here. Can you tell I'm just winging this? Pepper. Let's mix. Alright, so I'm mixing it, and now let's do a taste test before we start stir frying. Taste the sauce.
Ew.
With your finger. It's recording now. We just had some very important people taste the sauce so far, and they said it's perfect. So we're gonna start marinating. Well, we're gonna start cooking the tofu now and the vegetables, and pray that this comes out tasting good. Okay, so I'm just flipping the tofu now. This brown color is what we're looking for. We're basically cooking out all of the moisture so that we can get a more firm texture and chicken-like texture. So we're gonna brown it some more, and then I will come back and show you what we're gonna do with the sauce. The one thing I'm missing right now is wine. All right, now we're gonna add in our sauce. Now that our tofu is nice and brown. Woo. Sauce well, and then we're going to simmer until the sauce reduces and gets a little bit sticky from the honey. Okay, now our tofu is nice and crispy, and I've turned the heat off. I'm just gonna add a little bit of sesame seeds. I tasted it, it's not too hot. It's actually just right. Nice balance of sweet and hot, and a little bit of soy sauce and some. Now I'm gonna finish this with green onions, and we are going to get ready to plate this. All right, we are all done, and it's time to plate. First, we're going to go ahead with the vegetables, and I actually ended up adding some vegetable broth and soy sauce, no salt at all, and it turned out really good. It has, you can basically call it a soy vegetable broth. And then our Sriracha honey tofu came out amazing. Everybody came down and tried it, and they were surprised at how good it was. And it has the perfect balance of sweet and spicy, the sweet and spicy flavor. And then we're gonna garnish with just a little bit of green onions because we already have some in there. And sesame seeds is optional, but it adds an extra element of flavor. And there with the honey and the sriracha, the spicy, the sweet, the nutty, it tastes amazing. All right, you guys, that's gonna do it for our honey sriracha tofu. I hope that you try this recipe out, and I hope that you like it. And until the next video, have a wonderful day. Bye.